Hello and welcome back to the Volks Wizard channel, and welcome back to the Volks Wizard kitchen. Now, it's not every day Volkswagen release a brand new internal combustion engine model, but that's exactly what they've done with the new Tayron SUV that went on sale in the UK a few days ago. As it's so new, there's not a lot of information out there, so I thought I would make a video and share with you the 10 key facts about the new Tayron so you can decide if it's a Volkswagen that you might be interested in buying. But before we get started, let me just remind you guys how you can support the channel. As ever, the easiest way is simply to subscribe. We're still getting loads of views from non-subscribers. It's brilliant to get those views. I don't think the channel would survive without them, but if you guys like what you see on the channel, then please do subscribe. If you subscribed already, then big thanks. Another way to support the channel is let me buy your interesting Volkswagen Group performance vehicle. Generally, we're looking for cars up to 5 years old, but we can go a little bit older for special cars like Audi R8s or Golf GTI Club Sport S. However old the car is, they need to be below average mileage or average mileage with a full service history, completely unmodified and in really good condition. If you've got something that sounds like that, then get in touch directly with me, Andrew at volkswizard.co.uk. Before we get started, I do need to say that since filming the bulk of this video, I've been advised that my pronunciation of Tayron is incorrect and it should actually be Tayron. Sorry about that. Okay, Tayron fact number one. What is the Tayron? Well, it's a large crossover SUV. Its first generation launched in 2018 and it was built in China solely for the Chinese market. The second generation is going to be sold globally, and it was revealed at the Paris Motor Show in October 2024, and it's going to be built at Wolfsburg for Europe, Mexico for the Americas, and China for the Far East. It is officially the replacement for the Tiguan Allspace, though it's a little bit more complicated, or actually a little bit simpler in North America, because they only ever got the long wheelbase version of the Tiguan, which we call the Allspace. They just called it the Tiguan, and the Tayron will be a direct replacement for that. And because it's the only model, there is no other Tiguan, they just call it the Tiguan. Weirdly though, even though the 3 rows of seats you can get with the Tayron is its kind of unique selling point, that's not available for the North American market. My kind of speculation on that reason is that maybe having people sitting in effectively the boot area isn't up to the American stringent crash protection regulations. On to Tayron fact number 2. As I mentioned earlier, the Tiguan Allspace is being replaced by the Tayron, and therefore it fits in the Volkswagen range between the Tiguan and the Touareg, although it's much closer in price to the Tiguan than the Touareg, which is significantly more expensive and remains a clear flagship for the Volkswagen brand. Let's talk about size then as part of number 2, so you can see how it sits. So Tiguan versus Tayron, it's 25 centimeters longer, the Tayron. That's quite a lot. That's just a bit smaller than the ruler you had at school. Thankfully, it's only 7 millimeters wider. It's 8 millimeters taller, but it's got a chunky 11 centimeters more as the wheelbase, so between the wheels. It's also 6.5 centimeters longer than the Tiguan Allspace, but it's still comfortably smaller than the flagship Touareg in every single dimension. It's worth mentioning the boot capacity because it's up a massive 150 litres over the Tiguan Allspace, which isn't a small car. So it goes up from 700 litres to 850 litres. However, if you go for the plug-in hybrid, because that's got to accommodate a battery under the floor pan somewhere, you only get 705 litres, which is still 5 litres more than the Tiguan Allspace. A bigger problem is that the plug-in hybrid Tayrons also lose out on the 3rd row of seats, which are available on every other model 1.5 mild hybrid and the 2-litre cars. Design-wise, it's quite a bit bulkier down the side compared to the Tiguan. But probably more obvious than that is that the Tayron's wheel arches are squared off in a very sort of Toyota style compared to the perfectly circular ones you get on the Tiguan. Okay, Tayron fact number 3. When the UK range is complete later in the year, there will be 6 drivetrain options, all with either 6 or 7 speed DSG, so there is no manual option. So you can have a 1.5 E-TSI mild hybrid with 150 horsepower, 7-speed DSG. You can have a 1.5 TSI E-hybrid, so plug-in hybrid, 204 horsepower with 6-speed DSG. You can have a 1.5 TSI E-hybrid, so again plug-in hybrid, 272 horsepower with 6-speed DSG. There is also a diesel, 2-litre TDI 150 with 7-speed DSG, and we have some punchy petrols, so 2-litre TSI 204 horsepower, 4-wheel drive. So if you want 4-wheel drive, you have to go for the punchier petrols, 2-litre petrols, 7-speed DSG, and the range topper is a 2-litre TSI 265 horsepower, 4-wheel drive, 7-speed DSG. The 1.5 mild hybrids or plug-in hybrids go on sale from the 9th of January, so actually a few days ago here in the UK. The 2-litre diesels and petrols are from the 20th of February. Okay, Tayron fact number 4. For the UK market, there are 5 trim levels. You start off with Life, then we have Match, Elegance, R-Line and R-Line Edition. And if you want Match or R-Line Edition, then you have to go for the plug-in hybrid, e-hybrid drivetrain, which I think is a clue as to which one they want you to buy due to the super low emissions of just 10 grams of CO2 per kilometre. So for company car drivers, it's a no-brainer, as we've talked about before with other plug-in hybrids from the Volkswagen range. So what's the difference then between the R-Line and the R-Line Edition? Because as far as I remember, we've never had an R-Line Edition before. Well, the R-Line range starts with the 1.5 TSI mild hybrid at £42,825, while the R-Line Edition starts with a much more expensive plug-in hybrid with 204 horsepower. That's £47,380. However, if you put that plug-in hybrid drivetrain in the R-Line, which you're allowed to do, it's only £500 cheaper than the R-Line Edition. So what do you get for your £500 premium? Well, the main features are you get a different style of alloy wheel, but both the R-Lines get 20-inch. You do get the tilting and sliding panoramic sunroof with rear panoramic glass. Now that's a £1,385 option on the base R-Line, so already the R-Line Edition is a no-brainer if you want a sunroof. You get the easy open and close electric tailgate with a virtual pedal activation. I love that. You just waggle your foot under the rear bumper and it generally opens the tailgate. You get memory feature for park assist. You get Park Assist Pro with park distance control, and you get keyless entry. So yeah, with all that chucked in for 500 quid, I think the R-Line Edition is a bit of a no-brainer, particularly if you're looking at going for the plug-in hybrid. Okay, Tayron fact number 5. When the Tiguan All-Space was offered for sale in the UK, it only came with traditional internal combustion engine, so no hybridisation of any sort, and that just wouldn't be competitive in today's market, particularly with the punitive company car tax rules. While the Tayron puts that right, because every one of the 1.5 derivatives is either mild hybrid or plug-in hybrid. But if you want to keep your Tayron simple, you're also allowed to do that, because the 2-litre diesel and the 2-litre petrol are not hybridised in any shape or form. And it will be interesting to see, as these cars age, whether the relative simplicity of those 2-litre engines makes them more desirable in the marketplace. Definitely one to watch. Okay, Tayron fact number 6. The company car tax busting plug-in hybrids come with the 19.7 kilowatt hour battery that's either got 204 horsepower or punchy 272 horsepower. Now that might sound familiar because it's exactly the same drivetrain you get in the Golf GTE. Now that car will do over 80 miles on its electric range using the WLTP combined test, which is relatively realistic. The Tayron plug-in hybrid is slightly less good, but I still think that's pretty good because it's a much heavier car, it's a much less aerodynamic car, and for most people, most of the time, they'll be able to drive purely on electric and take advantage of cost per mile being about a third of the costs on petrol or even diesel. Okay, on to number 7 then. Now, up until this point, if you wanted illuminated Volkswagen logos on the front and back of your Volkswagen, you had to choose a car from Volkswagen's electric ID range. Well, in a first For the European market, you can now have those illuminated logos front and back on an internal combustion engine Volkswagen, and it's called the Tayron. Okay, on to number 8 then, and a common theme of all my recent Golf 8.5 review videos is that the comments are littered with people moaning about how they hate the looks of the standard 12.9-inch infotainment system screen because it's not integrated into the dashboard, and my reply is always, well, it works a damn sight better than the integrated one in the Mark 8, and part of that is probably to do with the fact that it's not integrated into the dash, and it can dissipate heat much better. The air conditioning system of the car can cool it down as well, therefore it can run higher processor speeds and just be a more responsive system that actually works well, unlike the one in the Mark 8. Well, I cannot wait till I get on the channel a Tayron with the optional 15-inch infotainment system. That comes as part of the infotainment package plus. It's £1,130, and that screen is as big as this screen on my laptop. It is a whopper. Whether it's a bit too distracting when you're driving, well, we'll find out when I get my hands on one of those cars. Now, the Tayron does not have a lot in common with Porsche's 911 GT3, but when the 991 came out, roughly about 10 years ago, it was available in a colour called Ultraviolet, which was a beautiful purple colour. Well, guess what? The Tayron is also available in a colour called Ultraviolet. Now, I can't confirm it's exactly the same colour as the one on the GT3, but it's pretty close. Obviously, the configurator doesn't do it justice, but there are some photos of it, and I think it looks incredible. And interestingly, this isn't a colour available to the Tiguan, which the Tayron does have a lot in common with. So if you're going to order a Tayron, please get Ultraviolet, because it's so rare for a Volkswagen to offer us a nice colour, and I think that's a truly beautiful colour that will really suit the Tayron. And finally, Tayron fact number 10. Now, as you probably know, on this channel, we're big fans of Volkswagen's adaptive suspension system, DCC, and I'm pleased to report it's fitted as standard to plug-in hybrid e-hybrid and 2-litre petrol Tayrons. It's a £1,025 option on other models, which might sound expensive, bearing in mind DCC is just over £700 as an option on a Golf, but this isn't just DCC, this is DCC Pro, and I do believe it's not just a bit of marketing this, it actually is significant, because the DCC Pro dampers come with a dual valve, which is pretty trick suspension technology for a production road car, and you don't get that in the Golf. Of course, there isn't a Golf that weighs 2 tons like the plug-in hybrid Tayron, so you could say it doesn't really need dampers as clever as those the Tayron needs to keep all that weight in check. But anyway, hopefully in time that technology will trickle down to the Golf's DCC as well. Well guys, there we have the Volkswagen Tayron SUV. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm not normally a fan of SUVs because generally a good estate car can do everything an SUV can do, and do it a lot more efficiently because it doesn't have the aerodynamics of a brick. But as we get more extreme weather events in the UK, the advantages of a tough, high-riding SUV are becoming a bit more appealing to me. And at just over £50,000 for the top of the range R-Line edition with the more powerful, I think 272 horsepower plug-in hybrid drivetrain, I think that's a lot of car for the money, both in terms of its actual size and in terms of what you get with regards to spec, though there are quite a few more options you can add to that to probably take it well north of 50k to spec it how you might want to. But even then, I think it seems pretty good value, particularly when compared to the Touareg. As ever guys, thanks for watching this Volkswagen video. Keep subscribing, keep commenting, and if you want me to get my hands on a Tayron and do a proper review, then let me know in the comments and I'll get in touch with the guys at Volkswagen UK. See you for the next one very soon.